Yo, hit 'em high, hit 'em low. It's the Noble Just Ball podcast. It's your boy Nick Hughes alongside Julian Delgado. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Splendid, splendiferous, some might say. Stupendous, in other words.
Stupendous is a great word.
It is, it is, it
Not used
is.
enough.
It isn't. It isn't, it isn't, it isn't. All right. So as you can see behind me, we're still in the early midst of spring training here. So we thought it might be a good time to start doing some predictions. And stay tuned. We're going to do a little bit of, division by division predictions, World Series, playoff predictions, everything like that. But today we're going to lead off with some award predictions. And here's a fun one for a lot of folks. Yes,
Yeah.
jazz hands indeed. So without further ado, we're going to start. Get right into it. We're going to start. We're going to go AL then NL for each one, and we're going to start with some of the lesser, talked about or cared about awards, still close and near and dear to our hearts, if you will, and then work our way up to obviously the big one, with MVP and everything like that. All right. So, Julian, you want to start us off with American League Manager of the Year?
Yeah. My manager of the year is going to be Scott Service from Seattle. Me and you have been really high up on Seattle this year. I think we both have them making that step and dethroning the Houston Astros
Yeah,
in the West.
yeah,
Um, I think if that happens and they become a 95 plus win team this year, I don't see why not. I mean, without this guy,
I,
he's putting together. He's going to put together a great lineup every day. Solid rotation. It's pretty much. I think it's his award to lose.
yeah.
Besides, like Terry Francona's, I think is maybe the only one that I can see fighting him for because Terry Francona is just that good. I don't know. I just like it. I like the way he has the clubhouse together, rally. It just feels like a good brotherhood building in Seattle, and I'm going to give the nod to him.
All right.
That's you,
So,
sir.
I very much love Scott Service as the AL Manager of the Year. Originally, one of my picks, and we talked a little bit about it in the sort of pre-production meeting. But for me, I'm going to then go with Kevin Cash, winning his third in 4 years with the Tampa Bay Rays. I think last year the Rays hit probably the most unfortunate string of injuries in the world.
Yeah,
This year, if they can stay healthy, this is a team that I think, as a Yankee fan, this Rays team scares me more somehow than any previous Rays team who always scared me. This is a team where I feel, very, very, very possible for them to dethrone us in the East. They're a very good ball club. And I genuinely worry about what we can be with this Rays, team
hmm
next to us. And a lot of that has to do with Kevin Cash and how he sort of manages a ball game, sort of at the forefront of everything in terms of analytics. It used to be the shift. Now I'm sure he'll devise something new. It's just he has this mind for the game that I think is very in line with what the Rays team is. And his predecessor was Joe Madden. It's very sort of similar in their style of sort of doing the most with at times the least talent theoretically. And this Rays team is going to be very scary. It's going to be a lot because of him.
yeah, no, definitely, especially with the way he's been kind of locking down the AL. It's pretty much him and Terry have been the two that have been locking down the AL managers for a while.
For sure.
I can see that happening. I think it just all depends on who wins the division at this point. We'll get that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I really agree with you. This might come down to who wins in the division, whether it be the Mariners or the Rays. But for me, those are the front runners in Cervez and Cash, and Franco is always obviously there. Nationally, I'll start this one off. I went with the team I picked in the last episode to be the winningest team in baseball, at least for the regular season, best record in baseball, Bob Melvin. He's a guy who's going to have to manage a whole lot of superstar egos,
hmm
particularly young superstar egos, in Manny Machado, being sort of your senior citizen, if you will, alongside Xander Bogaerts, Juan Soto, and Fernando Tatis Jr. I think this is a team that has its holes, particularly at the back end of the lineup. But depending on how he can sort of work in veterans like Nelson Cruz and Matt Carpenter, he might be able to sort of, over exceed something we didn't talk about in the last podcast. What their bench sort of looks like, including Adam Engel, who I very much like, how he can sort of platoon him and Trent Grisham to get a few extra wins. Some bullpen help down the stretch, if he can sort of utilize guys properly. I think this is Bob Melvin's to lose. I think
Yeah.
he's going to be sort of the top tier guy there.
Now, based off we're saying that he has a lot of superstars to manage. Do you think that
It would
could
hinder him.
hurt him? Like, a lot of people will twist that narrative that, like, oh, he shouldn't have it because look at the team he has. I could manage.
I mean, yeah, I think potentially it very well could go against him. That being said, I think there's a testament to being the team who could finally legitimately dethrone the Dodgers. And I mean that in the sense, in 2021, we saw the Giants, I think they beat out the Dodgers by a game at the end of the season. But it never truly, I don't believe in anyone's mind, felt like the Giants were really the better team there. They never truly felt like the threat that I think the Padres already sort of feel like.
It's definitely like two different calibers of teams.
Yeah, so it was. I think to be the team that can truly overthrow the Dodgers is going to be a big thing. Also, I think the nod always has to go to the guy who coached his team to the best record. And I think quite possibly in all these, we'll get to it, but MVP caliber players, the most value add is over the past 2 seasons that he has now been there has been Bob Melvin, because we've seen the trajectory of this team since his arrival. And I think, their arrival as the team in the NL West coincides with his arrival as, the manager of the year.
I'm gonna go just a left field choice just because I feel like that narrative of the talent that he has is gonna kind of overwrite it. Whereas I see more, I have Oliver Marmol from St. Louis.
Love that.
I have him winning it. He was top 4 last year in voting. He did a great job with rallying this team to come from behind and take the Brewers division away from them. And I think he's just going to pretty much get all the best out of every single player he has this year. Especially like a guy like Juan Yepes. I think he made a step, and I think they're going to take other steps like that. And I think he's going to do a great job of managing not just the guys above, but calling up a lot of young players that a lot of people suspect to them to make the roster this year. And I think that's going to be the key difference in him kind of not coasting through the division, because it's going to be a little bit tougher with the schedule. And I think him gathering the team around the different schedule now is going to be what wins him the division or the award.
I like that. All right, moving on. We're going to go to the AL Comeback Player of the Year.
All right.
And I'll let you kick this one off here.
I'm very strong on this, just because he had a very down year last year. I'm going with my boy, Javi Baez. I genuinely think that it was just an outlier year. He won't be this bad ever again. He hit 238 last year. Was it 17 home runs, 67 RBIs? That's not who Javi is. And I think we see a return to form. I think we see just Gold Glove caliber defense, Silver Slugger caliber bat, and he's going to propel the Detroit team to come up from 5th place to 4th place. But I think he's going to be the unsung hero of the Detroit Tigers season, and he's going to look like he was definitely worth that contract.
I love that. I would like nothing more than to see Javi Baez be the guy again. Also, a sneaky thing with Javi Baez, he has an opt-out at the end of this year.
That's another thing that I can see him performing crazy and then going and get another bag somewhere else if he doesn't like Detroit.
Yeah, I could definitely see that coming. For me, I was weirdly stuck between a pair of Yankees who play the same position.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was for me between Josh Donaldson, who I think is, there's technically I feel nowhere to go but up, short of just losing his job, being relegated to the bench, and it's all over. Uh, for me, it's between him or DJ LeMahieu, and I went LeMahieu. And
Yeah,
with LeMahieu, health has been a huge factor last year. When he is healthy, we know he's one of the best pure contact hitters in baseball. What he can do on a day to day is, unreal in terms of putting bat on ball. Additionally, an incredible clutch hitter, and on top of that, an incredible defensive player. I think, based on sort of what this Yankees team looks like going forward, uh, him being able to be that sort of hyper utility. He's in the lineup every day at some variation of first, second, third, and even a little bit of DH. It's going to play so big, and they're going to give him every chance in the world to be DJ again. So it'll be really cool to see.
yeah, I think that's DJ becoming a comeback type of player. Definitely will help out the Yankees, and I can see him having a bounce back year over Donaldson. I think Donaldson's just either this is what he is for the rest of his career, or yeah, I think he's pretty much done.
Yeah. So we're gonna go NL comeback player of the year, and I'll kick this one off. Uh, I went Eddie Rosario.
Okay.
For me, this Braves team feels more complete maybe than any Braves team in a long time, which is saying something for a team that keeps winning the division handedly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Was
they're one
World
sort
Series
of.
winners 2 years ago.
I'm just saying this is one of those things where they're, uh, it feels like their two positions of weakness theoretically are left field and shortstop. Shortstop is going to be helmed this year by Vaughn Grissom, the rookie. They're going to see what he can do in left field, though. This is definitely, Eddie Rosario's job to lose.
Yeah.
Marcelo Zuna is going to be there, but he's going to play a lot of DH primarily. Eddie Rosario has a chance to sort of slide into a lineup that now lost Dansby Swanson. He can do some things with that stick from the left-handed side, really just elongate that lineup. He's going to get a lot of RBI chances with guys in front of him.
Mhm.
Uh, and I feel like it's a very good opportunity for Eddie Rosario to sort of return to what we saw him do in years past.
Yeah. And kind of piggybacking off of that and then my AL pick, I genuinely think that those two guys is absolutely going to benefit from this World Classic. Just having that type of competition that early on in the season, I think will drive those guys to have just good years. For me, my NL is it's gonna be McCutcheon. A little feel good story, kind of like how last year we had Pujols and his feel good story. I think
Yeah.
McCutcheon's gonna have his where this might be one of his last years in the league, but let me be a leader to these young kids in Pittsburgh and show them that hey, maybe we got something special building
Yeah.
here. But I think McCutcheon's gonna just have a crazy good year back in Pittsburgh.
I think the weird thing for me is with McCutcheon, he came out flat out and said, "This is not a retirement tour. I'm not done."
Yeah,
So I'm almost curious to see with McCutcheon if he becomes a situation where halfway through the season he's playing well, but the Pirates, aren't up to that yet.
trade.
Is he back on that block and stuff? So very interesting to think about. We're gonna move on to rookie of the year,
Rookie of the year. All right.
and we're gonna start in the American League. I'll let you get first crack here.
Yeah, first crack American League. I'm dying on this young kids are the going to be the heart and soul of the Yankees this year outside of Judge. I have Anthony Volpe winning the American League Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to have a year similar to how we saw with I don't know why his name's escaping me right now. A few years ago from the Yankees. I don't know why his name is escaping me right now.
Glaber?
Yeah, with Glaber. I think he's going to have a year similar to Glaber or even better. I think he's just going to come up and just tear the league up. I think Volpe is like he's going to feed that narrative is hey, why didn't we start this last year? and I'm dying on that hill. Young kids are going to be the heart and soul of the Yankees.
I love that. I mean, I would like nothing more. I think every Yankee fan in the world right now is, celebrating.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a slightly different route. I'm going to go a team who spent a lot of money over the last couple of years, is very much leaning heavy on veterans, but one position of need will be helmed by a rookie who can do some very impressive things, particularly with the bat. I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers' Josh Jung at third base.
Okay.
I think his hitting ability is something special. I think alongside Corey Seager, Marcus Simeon on that infield who could sort of play veteran leadership to him, just defensively and in the clubhouse, that's going to be very special. His mobility at third base is going to be very key, especially with Corey Seager playing to his left. His ability to sort of move around is going to be something very special to watch, I think. Also, the big thing for me is with that, pressure's off. He's a young kid playing on a team, yes, with championship aspirations, but they're first looking to the guys like Seager and Simeon to recapture glory. And if Josh Jung is the guy who can sort of just be a consistent bat in the lineup for a calendar year, I think he can do incredible things for this Rangers team.
Mm.
And we've seen him thus far hit at every single level, and he's going to be something special for this Texas Rangers team. So I went Josh Jung here. And switching gears now to the National League side of things, another young kid that we've seen just absolutely, hey, I think it's a little bit different actually. It's a young team with a young kid who's set to be part of their long-term future in what's supposed to be a super stacked outfield. I'm going to go Corbin Carroll from the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think, we saw a little flash of him last year.
Yeah.
The bat wasn't quite there in the early going, but the glove definitely was. I think the fact that he's going to be essentially their starting left fielder with,
Varsho gone.
huh?
With Varsho now gone.
Yeah, Varsho's gone, but he's going to transition into left field with Alec Thomas in center,
Yeah.
McCarthy in right field. I think he has an opportunity to just, play a less defensive oriented position in left field, can focus on hitting, can focus on being what's, I think, long term going to be a very middle of the order, top of the order kind of guy. I see him as sort of a 2-3 long term for the Diamondbacks. What he can do is something special. Super athletic. I think he will play very big. I'm not quite calling Julio, but it's going to be akin to maybe a poor man's Julio Rodriguez with what he was able to do last
Yeah.
year in Seattle, of just being this hyper athlete 2020 kind of guy.
All right. So you're called a poor man's Julio. I'm calling a poor man's Adley Rutschman. I'm going with Francisco Alvarez is going to win the NL Rookie of the Year. New York is running it. Um, I really like this kid. Everything from I'm seeing from camp is no one's talking anything negative. I know they're waiting for his defense to really catch up before he gets the nod, but I just think he's going to have a really good spring training, and I think he's going to end up winning either a catcher, the backup catcher position, or even a DH position. I think he's going to find his way onto the team early on in the season, and he's not going to look back. I think he's going to be a big contributor to this Mets offense. I love the way he swings the bat, really powerful. Um, Solid arm too behind the plate. I think he can be a really good catcher long term for the Mets. I'm really high up on this kid.
Love that. Love it for him. I'm a little scared to see a rookie behind the plate for Scherzer and Verlander.
See, but that's the thing with those two. I feel like those are good. They always want to teach them.
I
They always
hope
want
so.
youth because that's exactly what happened with Scherzer with a lot of the younger pitchers last year.
See,
With
that's the
Scherzer,
thing is, I think for me, my fear with Alvarez is he's going to
yeah,
be sort of shoehorned more into the designated hitter role,
yeah,
is my little bit of fear with Alvarez, because I think defensively he lags a little bit behind, and not to call it the Gary Sanchez card, but not
Yeah.
quite that, but in the same vein of the offense is ahead of the defense there. And with what I've seen so far, this is a very still competitive Verlander and Scherzer, and we talked about that in the last episode of the podcast here, where we talked about the differences between the two of them. I think I'm a little scared for. I hope you're right. I will say
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. I have a feeling that they're gonna, if anyone can help teach this kid, those are the
Yeah,
two perfect pitchers, especially for calling a game behind the plate. I feel like there's no better two than those two at the moment.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Up next, we're gonna move on to AL Hank Aaron Award. And
Okay.
Hank Aaron Award, for those who do not know, is given out to the best offensive player in a given league in a given season. So, Julian, I'll let you kick this one off. How you feeling?
All right. As much as it pains me to say it, because I don't want anything good coming out of Houston, I think Jordan Alvarez is going to take it this year. Last year, he had 306 average, 37 home runs, 97 RBIs, and a 1.019 OPS, which is fucking insane.
Yeah,
The only person who had better was Judge in terms of OPS. I just think he's going to be the heart and soul of this Houston offense. And now that they added Abreu, he's going to see more pitches, and that's kind of a scary thing to see as someone who's loathes the Houston Astros. He's just going to kill the entire league this year. It's going to be crazy to watch.
yeah, no, I agree with you. Jordan Alvarez is absolutely a nightmare. We'll do a World Baseball Classic breakdown another day. It is unfortunate that he is not on that team because Cuba might automatically become the scariest lineup in the world just because
Oh
he's.
yeah.
Um, uh, for me though, I'm gonna go with another guy you just mentioned, Aaron Judge.
Okay. Back to back.
And for me, the rationale with Judge, I do not believe he hits 63 this year. I
I
don't
mean,
believe
imagine.
I just, however, there's something he almost did last year that he did not quite achieve. But the
Hmm.
sheer thought of a man his size with his just sheer physical talent also achieving a high batting average. Um, for me, I think this might be Judge's Triple Crown season. I think for everything we thought Aaron Judge was incredible at last year, the
Hmm.
fact that now, yes, the league is caught up, but only in the sense that they might pitch around him a little. I don't think I think he takes the responsibility of captain very seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's going to want to walk up and deliver every time and not in a sense that overwhelms him. I see him as the guy who might, really rise to that level, all rise and stuff. Judge joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I see Aaron Judge somehow getting better still. His
Very
game is
to that.
constantly evolving. He talked earlier in the spring about, his wanting to sort of doing a no stride with his batting stance to sort of make better contact on two strike counts. Something that has plagued him for a long time is the strikeouts. So if he's saying, I'm gonna try to just put bat on ball at his size with his power, it's something that speaks to what he's trying to do with his game, something he's trying to produce. I can only see in that situation, maybe the power numbers aren't what they were, but if
Yeah.
he can hit 45, that might be enough in this league.
Yeah.
If he can up the average and subsequently the RBIs because he's making more contact runners on base and two strike counts, though, he's going to be a, almost a surefire candidate if there was ever.
Oh yeah, no, and I think with the elimination of the shift, it'll help him. Even though he's not a lefty
Yeah,
bat, yeah, I still think it helps out his average a lot too.
absolutely. So we shall see. We shall see. In the National League, I'm going to switch to another guy who got a bag this offseason. My NL Hank Aaron Award is going to go to Xander Bogarts.
Okay.
Um, I went back and forth a lot with the Padres. I really did. Uh, for me, though, what it came down to, I think he is, Juan Soto is incredible. Quite possibly the best pure offensive talent we've ever seen in baseball.
Mhm.
Manny Machado is a student of the game who is going to meticulously dissect pitches. Fernando Tatis may be the best raw talent we've ever seen. Xander Bogaerts has done it and done it consistently. Uh, every year where you think he's going to finally digress because this, that, and third, he doesn't. He is a perennial 300 hitter. He has pop. He's going to be situated in the perfect spot in a lineup theoretically that features three of the other best hitters in baseball that I named, and he is the guy most up to the task of doing it year in year out. There is no down year from Xander Bogaerts. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So him doing it now with table setters ahead of him, more power behind him, I think Xander Bogaerts is very much going to earn, in theory, the contract he just got. Uh, I think there's a very good chance he's the best hitter on the San Diego Padres this year, and people are going to be a little shocked. But for the unfortunate, at one time I say unfortunate AL East fans who were not Red Sox fans, who we got to see a whole lot of Xander Bogaerts kick our
Yeah.
ass. We know what he can do. Red Sox fans know what he can do. It's going to be a very much a match made in heaven in my head.
All right. So you mentioned my pick earlier in your little promo, but it's really who the actual best hitter in the Padres is. I have Juan Soto.
Okay.
This man is just on unreal talent wise. I absolutely can see a repeat of what he did in 2021. 2022 is weird because his average was down, but his on base percentage was up because he'd be constantly walked in Washington. And then once he got to San Diego, saw a little uptick in especially in his power. But this man just a year ago had a 465 on base percentage, 490 the year prior. Uh, that's going to continue, and the average is going to be there because now he's protected well for the
Yeah.
first time in his career since the World Series run in his rookie year. He's finally protected well, uh, and it's going to show. The RBI numbers are going to be there. The home run numbers are going to be there. The average, the slugging. I think everything's going to be there, and he's just going to have the greatest hitting season we have seen from him yet.
Yeah, I think you're very much correct. I mean, this is going to be a not for nothing for this award. I would not be surprised if four Padres are, in the top four.
Yeah, five voting.
Tatis, Tatis essentially just being, dragged because he didn't start the season with them, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be an insane offense to watch. Absolutely. We're going to move on to the guys who sort of have to keep offense off the board. We're going to
Yep.
talk about our Cy Young picks, and we're going to start in the American League. So, who is your AL Cy Young prediction?
My Cy Young prediction is he's finally going to make that step. I have Shane McClanahan coming through and winning it. Finally, I'm jumping off a year pick from last year. I think this is the year he puts everything together and just dominates the league. I see 20 plus wins, low ERA. I can just see him doing it all this year. I think it's probably gonna be, it's gonna be close, but I also think it's gonna be like Verlander last year. Is like, come on, man. Like, there's a clear, obvious choice here.
Yeah, I mean, him finishing second last year to Verlander was a little bit of a heartbreak to me because I called it last year and said, he is as close to the real deal as I've seen in a long time from a young pitcher. I think last year on our episode, I compared him to a young Jacob DeGrom. This is Jacob DeGrom if he had started pitching when Shane McClanahan started pitching, kind of thing of, we're going to see unbelievable things out of him. Very much agree with you.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm going to go instead in a slightly different direction with another young pitcher on championship caliber team. Matter of fact, a team that just won the championship. I'm going to go Framber Valdez of
Ooh,
the
that's good.
Houston Astros. I think his ability to make hitters miss is something spectacular. What we've seen of him in Houston has been absolutely ridiculous. With Verlander gone, that sort of everybody existing in the shadow of him disappears.
Yeah,
Theoretically, it should have been Lance McCullers behind him, but there's been a lot of injury trouble, some shaky, stuff once he's back out on the mound and stuff. But with Framber Valdez is the clearly defined ace of staff now, going into 2023. I think he is the guy for the Astros that sort of brings that rotation together. And for me, he is the kind of guy where I want him for whether it be the Yankee or whatever team you put me in charge of. That is the guy I want to take immediately
yeah,
and say this guy is going to give me 33 quality starts in a given year, and I love what he brings.
yeah. And he stays healthy, so that's
Exactly.
absolutely something to look into.
Yeah, that is very true. All right, we're going to flip it over now to the NL side. And on the NL side, I'm going to take a team who I think is, fringe playoff at best. And, I don't like to take the non-playoff teams. I literally haven't done it, uh, actually, I guess I did it once already. Yeah, whatever. I'd take a fringe playoff team. Uh, Arizona Diamondbacks was my other fringe playoff team where I took my rookie of the year, Corbin Carroll. This time I'm going to take Zach Gallen as my rookie of the year, or as my Cy Young, I should say. I think he is absolutely incredible with
Yeah, I
what
love
we've
him.
seen in flashes from him. Um, it's a weird thing in a sense where he is a bit ahead of the Diamondbacks rebuild in terms of positional, sort of what they have there. It's a little bit for me reeks of something we talked about in terms of Corbin Burns or Brandon Woodruff with the Brewers, where he's a little ahead of what the rest of the team is at. Where the rest of the team is at, he is a playoff caliber pitcher on a team who may or may not make it in a given year. Which I don't love for him. That being said, I think he is absolutely going to take this league by storm. Uh, his stats last year were incredible, particularly against non-NL West teams.
Yeah,
And in a year where suddenly he's going to see a lot more of them, I feel very confident about what he can.
yeah. No, I 100% agree. He's going to be one of the top three in voting. I think he's going to take that huge step. Great, he was great for my fantasy last year. I loved him for fantasy. But for me, the clear and cut winner, I think Sandy's repeating, man. I think Sandy's repeating. He was just that good and that dominant last year. I was watching an interview where he said he was improving. I'm like, if you improve, that's scary. And if
Yeah,
Miami and if
I was gonna
Miami's
say,
anywhere near but competitive, it's gonna be tough to argue against it. What were you
yeah.
saying?
For folks at home, that's Sandy Alcantara of
Oh
the
yeah,
Miami Marlins. Yes.
Sandy's just I love watching him pitch.
Yeah.
His selection, his way he changes speeds, it's scary, man.
It's
And
next level.
I think he's repeating.
Yeah. It's something special. Wow. Yeah, I like Sandy Alcantara a lot. The thing we were talking about in our pre-production meeting, my fear with picking guys, because one guy I do want to give a shout out on the American League side is a guy I told Julian I think I would take a huge step forward is Brady Singer,
Yeah,
the Kansas City Royals. My fear was not rewarding guys who aren't going to collect a whole lot of wins, generally speaking, just because of the teams they're on. But voters are voters, and it
yeah.
doesn't
And then
mean that
my dark
the
horse for
guy is.
Cy Young will probably be Verlander on the NL side.
Yeah,
I talked about it last episode. I think Verlander's going to have a great season. I
yeah,
just think Sandy's just going to be do something special this year, man.
love it. Love it, love it, love it. And the fact that they got him, what, another four after this?
Yeah.
Godspeed. Hopefully, I really hope they can build something, but that's for another time. All right. Uh, all right. Next, we're gonna go AL MVP. Okay. And I'll let you kick this one off.
All right. I think the narrative is what's going to get this kid the title, knocking down Houston. I have Julio Rodriguez capturing it. I think he's going to lead this team in every category possible for a hitter. He's just going to be the guy, and the narrative, the fun narrative, he's going to be great to watch. I think everything outside of that is just going to carry him to an MVP title this year.
He's also benefited by the fact that incorrectly MLB The Show did not give him the cover.
Yeah, that's also a good little chip on
Yeah,
his shoulder.
absolutely. No cover athlete curse for him. So he just gets to keep being fucking real.
I think
I
the
love
RBI
that
numbers are
pick.
going to jump up. I just think everything's going to jump up this year, man.
I love that. I tipped my hand a little early when I said this man would collect the
Yeah.
triple crown.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge is going to be a monster. I think as voting progresses, the one thing voters are going to look at a little bit more is, what you bring to a team. And this is why I love your pick of Julio Rodriguez, of the energy and everything like that,
Mhm.
and being sort of that face and focal point. With Aaron Judge being sort of the captain, which is this symbolic figure in New York, is a big thing. In addition to it, the fact that he's going to go above and beyond to sort of now we're talking about for the first time in his major league career, he's going to play left field to give Stanton some games out in right was a big talking point of spring training so far. I love it. I think it's the coolest thing in the world to see, a guy sort of go no ego.
Yeah.
I'm just here to win and do what
Yeah.
I can to win. Even something as simple as there was a question that came up the other day of why he's not playing for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic because they really wanted him, all this. And he said, there's a bunch of young guys, which you love on the team, which I love on the team. And he said, I'm their captain and I need to be here to help them through their first spring.
Love that for him. Love that.
I'm so sorry. You can't not fall in love with that.
Yeah.
This is a guy who takes this so serious. This is if you had, this is our generation's Mickey Mantle. This is our generation's Garrett. Special guys who were the character. I'm so sorry, Mickey Mantle wasn't even the character because he was a different kind of character. This
No,
is our
also
generation's Gary.
yeah.
Where it's, DiMaggio is what I meant, not Mantle. Gary DiMaggio, where he is the face of the franchise, both statistically and also in terms of how he carries himself. Jeter was a little bit different. He's not that power bat. He's not the guy ever theoretically. Um, with Aaron Judge, he is the guy on the field and off. And for me, the voters are going to reward it. I don't see voter fatigue hitting this year, maybe next, but
Yeah. Especially if your prediction's correct and he hits triple
yeah,
crown.
it's
As Mike Trout has proven, it's hard to beat a triple crown in MVP voting.
yeah
Um,
impossible.
it's literally impossible. That's the only I can see that if he gets a triple crown.
All
All
right,
right,
moving
we got for NL.
NL MVP. So for me, it was between a handful of guys from San Diego
Okay.
and then the guy I went with. Uh, Atlanta Brave, Ronald Acuna Jr.
Okay.
Um, painfully had to miss so much time
Yeah.
over the course of the last couple of years. He missed the World Series. That eats. And, any sort of athlete can tell you, any competitor can tell you, they're happy to see their boys
That'll
win.
eat somebody up.
They want to be out there. For Ronald Acuna Jr., this is the prove it year. There's even the not so good part of the prove it year with the fact that there were reports out there that the reason Dansby Swanson could not get an offer suitable to what other teams were willing to give Dansby Swanson was because Ronald Acuna Jr. and his camp did not believe that another player should be signed to the money that he was guaranteed or more.
Yeah.
And that is a very big thing. So now this is a prove it year.
Yeah.
Objectively. Ronald
Definitely.
Acuna Jr. needs to step out on that field and absolutely be the guy for an Atlanta Braves team who needs to, now more than ever, considering what the Mets and Phillies look like, needs to be the team. So he needs to be the guy on the team, and I am betting on him, truthfully. If you can take this Braves team, who, yes, it's a very deep team. It's a very stacked team when you look at all the guys they've brought up over the years, and you can be the best player on the best team in this division. It speaks wonders to what you are as an MVP candidate.
I could see that. I'm sticking in the NL East. I know I picked Juan Soto to have just a monster year offensively. The reason I'm not choosing Juan Soto for MVP is I think the too many cooks of the kitchen argument is gonna hurt him. Where
Yeah,
you have all this talent around you, you're not the most valuable on this team, although you had a great year. Because there's so many other around your caliber, all that. For me, I'm giving it to my guy, and it's going to be a dark horse. Dark horse is Francisco Lindor. I think Francisco Lindor is going to have a crazy year, um, akin to maybe his 2017 year where he was top 5 in voting. I think he's going to get better. I think the average is going to be there. I think he's going to hit around 280. I think with the new bases, I think his stolen base numbers are going to be up. I can see him being a 30-30 guy. Home run, like I feel like this is just the year for him. Everything just feels special, and this is the year he goes, "Hey, I'm the guy here." I know everyone keeps talking about I'm not the best player on this team. No, I'm the best player on this team. Defensively, offensively, I am the guy, and he's gonna try to carry the Mets to that to finish the story. He's gonna
I
carry
love
them,
it.
and I'm hoping so. And I have a good feeling this is gonna be a good year for him.
I love that. I really hope that for you too.
Yeah, I just think it's just everything I've been seeing, training, the World Classic stuff. I always have that good narrative that whoever has a good World Classic is going to have a good season, and I
Love
think
that.
that narrative of finishing the story in the World Classic and finishing it off in the regular season is going to drive this man to have his best season yet.
I love it. I love to see it. All right, man. That was a fun chat there.
Oh yeah,
That was really cool. All right, man. Thank you for doing it with me. Thank
I
you
think it's just
guys.
impressive that this is the first time we don't have like multiple of the same people here.
Yeah, that's what a pre-production meeting's for. Oh man. All right. So I will say thank you for doing this with me. Thank you,
Of course.
folks at home, for watching. It has been real. It has been nice, and it has been really, really nice. And we will do this again very, very soon.